Beauty and the Beast is a classic story told for children all over the world. The beautiful lady falls in love with the Beast, who in the end turns out to be the Prince Charming all along. This story teaches us about the power of love and the importance of looking beyond physical appearances to discover true inner beauty. It emphasizes that kindness, compassion, and understanding can break through outward differences and lead to personal growth and positive change. Now how about we make it spectacular?
ようこそ、Youの世界へ。
The movie Belle, or The Dragon and the Freckled Princess, was released in the summer of 2021 and was directed by Mamoru Hosoda. Unlike the original Beauty and the Beast, the director of Belle has taken this concept and made it applicable to modern time, especially now with rampant advancing of technology and AI. In this video, I will talk about the stunning animation, how it's created and why it works so well in this movie. Most of the information was taken from a meticulous interview on the official Digital Frontier website, who were responsible for creating the CGI for the movie. All the sources will be linked in the description below. Without further ado, let's get into the video. Mamoru Hosoda has been exploring the idea of virtual worlds for quite some time now. For him, the idea of a virtual world first sprouted in his 2000 movie Digimon about an evil virus that consumes data and takes over the internet. Later on, in his 2009 movie Summer Wars, he fully established a vast virtual world. With the movie Belle, Hosoda took it a step further and developed a colossal world that is a cross between a floating city and a giant circuit board. Let's first take a look at the story and why it touches so many people's hearts. At the heart of the movie is Suzu, a high school girl struggling with deep emotional scarring. After the tragic death of her mother, Suzu loses not just her voice, but also her sense of self. Singing her heart out in the past, she now finds it impossible to sing or express herself. To her, her mother's sacrifice of drowning whilst trying to save a stranger was a selfless act, but it also left Suzu with feelings of abandonment and guilt. But in the world of You, everything is possible. Here, she becomes Belle, a version of herself who can sing once more, and as she captivates millions of people with her voice, it also leads to meeting the mysterious figure by the name of Beast or Dragon. Beast was a feared creature who was outcasted for being a near unbeatable user, but Belle sensed something different inside of him. Intrigued by the Beast, Suzu begins to gather information about him. She follows him to his castle, learning more about him, but the Yu's vigilante group tracks him down and burns the castle to the ground. Meanwhile, in the real world, Suzu and her friends discover that the Beast is a high schooler named Kei, who, along with his younger brother, is suffering abuse from his father. To gain Kei's trust, Suzu reveals her identity in You in this beautifully orchestrated performance. However, Kei's father cuts off their internet when the abuse is exposed. Desperate to help, Suzu travels to Kei's town and in the end manages to save them. This display of strength to Suzu is what Hosoda wanted to highlight in this movie. In his interview with Crunchyroll, he defines what the concept of beauty is to him and how it applies to this movie, saying, "The biggest challenge to the story is beauty. The original story is set in 18th century France. In the 18th century, beauty was dictated by the patriarchal society. It was a role given to women by men. For me, strength is beauty, and being able to grow and get stronger is beautiful." Which is what Suzu does when she meets this other self inside her that's called Belle. Belle helps her become a stronger version of herself, and that is beauty today. The internet and the metaverse are also a key topic in this movie, as they are in real life. With more and more AIs and metaverses being developed in our current time, it's no wonder it is largely affected on their users as well. It separates us into a new universe, a universe where we have the freedom to do whatever we want. Interestingly, Hosoda views the metaverse from this optimistic perspective, where he sees it as a new tool that is going to change us, to change the world, and it was full of hope. He wants to show that hope and to encourage young people and the new generation through his films. Ultimately, I believe that this optimism Hosoda has towards the future of young people is beauty as well. To create a movie that will encapsulate all of this, Hosoda turned to international collaborators. He discovered Eric Wong, a London-based architect/designer whose designs he fell in love with, so he brought him on board to create a concept art for the film's massive online world. Moreover, South Korean animator Jin Kim, known for working on movies like Frozen and Moana, was recruited to design the central character, Belle. Let's first talk about Eric Wong's expansive world of view. As I've said before, the world of view is presented as a cross between a floating city and a giant circuit board. Also, a dominant visual concept was the idea of a bright sky. The world of view is vast, and in turn the data size is too big when laid out in one scene, so the animators organized the data into smaller units. The background animators focused more on using composites rather than 3D models to produce a sort of graphic-like representation. So all in all, the background concepts consist of 3 major parts: the city area of view, the dragon's castle, and nature backgrounds along the road to the castle. What is interesting about the city area view is that there are no shadows, as it would make the image too busy. Instead, they added colors using masking and gradation data to make it a truly graphic work. Additionally, particles were a key element in creating the U space, which was made to look like city lights. Continuing on for the dragon's castle, the process was a bit different. The animators first needed to decide on a look, which they later turned into a 3D model. Moreover, for the scene where the dragon's castle burns up in flames, the animators needed to find the right balance between the dynamic flames and the frailty of paper-like crafted castles that burn up instantly. Then moving along, we have the backgrounds along the road to the castle, which was created by Cartoon Saloon, an Irish animation studio. They kept the feeling of concept art while also dividing it into layers and giving the drawings a 3-dimensional structure. This large virtual universe felt expansive and empty without a lot of background characters, so it makes sense to next talk about crowds. Because the movie has a large number of crowd characters, they had to split the animation between multiple animation groups. The characters in the back were created by the effects team, while the ones in the intermediate position were laid out by using MiArmy, a crowd simulation tool which emulates real-life behavior patterns. There was roughly 300 types of characters in the middle ground. And then, for the characters near the camera, the animators used keyframe animation. A thing that not a lot of people noticed in the movie, but was interesting, is that in the scene where Belle is getting swarmed by a bunch of A's, at the climax of the movie, the A's in the background were actually particles. The effect was so simple yet so impactful. A giant egg of people created just using particles. For the scene where Belle transforms into her real self, the bubble, water, streams of light are reflecting on the accidental drowning of Suzu's mother, which scarred Suzu for life. One thing that really catches your eye when you first watch the movie is our protagonist's virtual persona, Belle. Belle's model is beautifully designed and genuinely one of the best protagonist designs I've ever seen. As mentioned earlier, Belle's character was created by Jin Kim, a veteran Disney character designer. While creating the 3D model, animators needed to find the balance between the Disney-esque design and the Japanese anime-style toon shading. Jin Kim had many inspirations for the design of Belle in the field of modern culture, like K-pop artists and Korean opera singers like Sumi Jo, as she is a classic singer with the graceful movements and gestures. For the scenes where Belle sings, the animators looked into the movements of contemporary dancers, as well as Kaho Nakamura, the voice of Belle. Moreover, the spots on Belle's face represent the spots on a whale's back, which symbolize something quite majestic and monumental. A key feature of Belle's face is her facial blunt shape, meaning that to retain the same face structure throughout all angles, they had to distort her base model and in turn make the shapes three-dimensionally accurate to some extent. When we talk about Belle, we have to talk about beautifully crafted costumes which were designed by real costume designers. For example, the crimson dress with flowers blooming from its seams was made using fresh flowers by Megumi Shinozaki, a flower artist. Additionally, the white dress done by Kunihiko Morinaga, the founder designer of Arnlilage, was made with beads which had a reflective property. I don't think I need to explain why the next topic is music. A big reason why I decided to make this video is because of the film's incredible music. The film's theme stretching over the whole movie makes such a big impact, and I love when movies do that. At first, this massive project was intended to be a musical, but due to Japan not having a culture of musicals, the idea was scrapped. Still, Hosoda wanted music to be the core of the movie. There were 4 different composers for this movie, 3 of them Japanese and 1 from Sweden. The key songs such as the dancing scene between Belle and the dragon and the ending where Belle sings in front of everyone was done by Taisei Iwasaki. Additionally, Kaho Nakamura, the voice of Belle, was also involved in writing lyrics of the songs. I highly recommend checking out her other music. At its core, Belle is more than just a reimagining of the Beauty and the Beast. It is a powerful exploration of identity, connection, and the courage to show our true selves in a world that often hides behind masks. Mamoru Hosoda reminds us that real beauty is found in vulnerability, and that even in a digital world, our human connections matter the most. Finally, understanding her mother's selfless actions, Suzu makes peace with her mother's death.